Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. Comment allez-vous? Welcome to this edition of the Kitchings Table. Yes, that might have been a little different for some of you, but the purpose of it, it's Olympic season. The Olympic Games have definitely started, and they're in the probably the second greatest city in the world for some of us. I mean, depending on where you live, but in Paris, the Olympic Games of Paris 2024. So this is where we are, and this is what we're talking about today here on the Kitchings Table. And joining me, as always, my co-host, Miss Ronline Cannady.
Good morning, Earl.
Bonjour,
I love your opening.
bonjour. Don't ask me to go much further than that, because you'll be like, no, can't take it any further than that. But yes, the fact that one of the greatest sporting events in the history of mankind is being conducted for the next couple of weeks in one of the greatest cities in the world, Paris, France, and to know that athletes from around the world who don't get into politics, and this is kind of an amazing thing. The politics of the world have not and do not always melt in and blend in with the Olympic Games, because the Olympic Games is totally not about politics. It is not about uh, humankind endeavors of negativity. It's all about positivity, brotherhood, sisterhood, the spirit of sportsmanship. That's what the Olympics is about. And no matter what countries may be at war, as we have some countries at war now, it does not blend over into it uh, so much. Although, Ronline, the country of Russia is not at these Olympics because they have been banned. And for many years, the competition for the United States was always Russia. Now that has become China. So, and what I'm looking at as I look at the Olympics is we tend to think that we have the best athletes there are, but that's not true. These Olympic Games will show you the diversity and the level of competitiveness and talent that countries have when they bring their best athletes out to represent their country in this game, in these games called the Olympics. So put your political aspirations aside, put your political thoughts aside, put all that, check it at the door, as they say. This is not where we are with this 2 week event, and this is not where we are today. So, the Olympic Games, or the Olympics, or the Olympiad, as it may be called, Ronline, there are actually 4 Olympics. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Okay. 4 Olympic Games, let me put it that way, 4 Olympic Games. So, what we have now is the Summer Olympics
Okay.
2024. Then we have the Winter Olympics, and these Olympics are held every 4 years. But the two newest Olympic Games, and I'm very grateful that they had the vision and the forthrightness to bring this forward, are the Summer Paralympics and the Winter Paralympics.
Okay.
And these games are for athletes with physical disabilities, but they are remarkable. They are truly remarkable. And to witness them doing what they do at the level that they do it, again, So when a country sends its Summer Olympics team to the Olympics, it also, if they're able, sends a Summer Paralympics team. So you have two teams representing a country, if they're able to fiscally, to send them. And just as a note to the Paralympics, these athletes have disabilities, amputations, blindness, cerebral palsy. But yet, they have two spirits that you cannot do anything about, Ronline. There's two spirits in them that you can't do anything about. They have heart and they have courage. Heart and courage. Ironically, those two things happen to be two things that two characters were looking to gain in a one of the most classic movies of all times. But heart and courage, because it is not an easy thing when you have a disability to try to do what is not physically uh, you're physically able to do or you're physically compelled to do. You got to want to do it as a participant in the Paralympics. You really, really, really got to have deep desire. That's that heart. But yet they're competitive, and they don't want you to treat them different. They don't want you to talk to them different. They don't want you to do anything different other than give them an opportunity. And there have been some remarkable Paralympics from around the world. Now, it's one thing to be a Paralympic at summer games when the temperature is warm, the landscape is warm, everything is pleasant, you can perform. But and when you talk about Winter Paralympics, doing things on ice and snow, that's a brand new, whole different ball game. So we have these Olympic Games for these seasons and for these athletes, and it's it starts out with a ceremony to, as they call the opening day ceremonies, and from once they get past that opening day, competition is on, and nobody's taking any prisoners. Man, it's like I don't you care about that person, but you don't care about them when it comes to competing.
The
I'm
competition
trying
is.
to go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's what competition is like love and war.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's all about WIN.
Yes.
It's all about a piece of metal. I'm gonna just break it down into its simplest form. It's about winning a piece of metal. Valuable metal, of course. Two pieces of them are. I don't know if people really find a whole lot of monetary value in a bronze medal. However, that is the goal, to win a medal. But the first goal, Ronline, before they get to the medals, is to become an Olympian.
Yes.
Athletes seek an opportunity to become an Olympian, just to be able to represent their country. Not whether I win or lose, but that I represented my country in competition. Because there are only going to be three winners. Only going to be three who will get the prizes. However, the stories that come out of some of these athletes who don't win but compete, the things they had to go through, the obstacles, when you think about countries, the island countries where their countries get ravaged and devastated by weather, they find a way to send a team. I mean, when I saw the team from Haiti on one of the boats that they used in this year's display. And you know, Haiti is not that large of a country. It's being overtaken by gangs, but yet they send a team to represent Haiti at the Olympics. You know, you gotta pay the cost for them to be a part of this thing. I mean, you got uniforms, you got logistics of flying them to wherever they got to go. You got to feed them and you got to lodge them. You know, and that's all something that's a part of this. But there's a tangible cost to being an Olympian. I mean, so uh, like many countries, these uniforms that they wear in the opening ceremonies and the closing ceremonies, those are not what they compete in. But yet, you got to have that uniform in order to be a part of the parade, in order the pomp and circumstance, as they would call it. So that's something else that we kind of take for granted until somebody just really delves into it. But
Thank
let's
you
look.
for bringing this topic because you're so spot on. My okay, so I didn't start paying attention to the Olympics until I guess like the late 80s.
Oh wow.
Yes. Yes, the late 80s. I mean, I remember seeing some of the openings,
Mm-hmm.
before that, but yes, I had some friends that were really into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wished like when Chandra Cheeseburg was part of the Olympics, and I was being spanked on the hand, if you will. It's like you should have been watching this. Where have you been? So I'm so grateful. I've had some friends that were looking forward to this ever since what May.
Right.
I can't wait, until today, this week that has happened, and it was such of a beautiful opening, and all
Oh
that
my
goes into
goodness.
it. Yes, it's like no other,
I mean, no, I haven't seen one, and I think the one thing that, or the two things that made it so spectacular was number one, the light show that they put on the Eiffel Tower. That
Mhm.
was phenomenal. I mean, they lit that structure. They lit that structure and did so many different things with that structure to make it just jump out at you. It's like if you don't know the Eiffel Tower, you should know it now if you've been watching these games.
Yes.
But the boat parade, the boat parade, where the athletes come into the Olympic City, and most of the times it's been coming into the main stadium where they host the track and field events. That has normally been the venue for the opening day ceremonies. Not the case this year. France took it to a whole nother level. A whole nother level. Somebody decided, hey, look, we're going to put these boats on the Seine River, and we're going to put the athletes on the boat, and we're going to have a boat flotilla down the Seine River, and they had fountains in the river, and it was just amazing. The only thing that was a damper to it was the fact that it drizzled rain during the course of that, but it didn't dampen the spirits of the athletes. They were just as excited. So they came in on all these boats, and they had long boats, medium-sized boats. They had tiny boats. If your country only had 2, 3, 4 people, they put you in a little boat. That makes sense. It's like there's no need in putting you on a big boat. Some countries had to share a boat. So the whole thing was just phenomenal. So when we talk about the fact that the Olympic Games date back to 1894 in Athens, Greece, that's a long time ago when you know it was very simplistic then.
Mhm.
Okay, uh, it was held in Olympia. Uh, the modern day started in 1894, but it says it dates back to the 8th century BC. to the 4th century AD. So these games have been going on in some form or fashion for centuries. But now in this modern day, with all the technology that we have now, and you mentioned not watching the Olympics until 1980. Well, my first Olympics, Ronline, was 1964.
Before I
1960.
was born.
You didn't have to bring that part up. I mean, you didn't have to bring that part. I think our viewers and listeners kind of already get, wow, he watched the Olympics in 1964. Everybody started doing math. Yeah, trying to figure out age. Okay, so I was 9 years old. I hadn't turned 10 yet.
Mhm.
I did not watch the 1960 Olympics because I didn't know what the Olympics was. But the reason why I'm looking at the 1964 Olympics is because I knew someone that was participating. And all of our hometown of Jacksonville, Florida, all eyes were on one guy. And he did not disappoint. He did exactly what was expected of him. And he went on to win 2 gold medals at the 1964 Olympics, one in the 100-meter dash and one in the 4x100-meter relay. And in both those events, Ronline, Bob Hayes had to
Mhm.
overcome obstacles. And for those who don't know that history, I'll just briefly go into it before I move on to the next topic of medals, because as I said, that's that's the thing at the end, the medals. You want to win that medal. It doesn't matter gold, silver, bronze. If you win a medal, you're an Olympic medalist. Gold medalist, of course, you're the Olympic champion. But anyway, so in '64, and in these events you have qualifying. So once you qualify for finals, uh, then you get down to, at least in track and field, the top 8. Most of these are in, top 8, top 2. Boxing, you get down to the top 4 because they have to have one additional match to determine who will win the bronze. But so in '64, uh, Bob Hayes was in lane 1. And in 1964, the track was not a rubberized surface as they have now. Spongy surface that really kind of bounces you back up into the air to run. You were running on what they call a cinder track, or basically dirt that was patted down real good. Imagine clay being very firm after you wet it and it sits in the sun and becomes very firm. But the obstacle that he had to deal with is, just before they ran the 100 meters, they were finishing up. I believe it was either the 10,000 meters or the uh, marathon, the 26-mile run. And the last lap of that event is run in lane 1. So you had all these runners trampling through your lane, and they did not repair the lane. They didn't go back and smooth it over and make it smooth like the other 7 lanes he was running against. They left it like it was. So it's beat up. You're running almost in sand. That was his obstacle, and still he won. Still he won. Then in the 4x100-meter relay, he was behind about 5 meters when he got the anchor baton on the anchor leg. He was behind about 5 meters. That's not a short distance.
Mm.
So 3 to 5 meters, depending on who's writing the narrative. But he was behind, and he was not close. When he got the baton, the team from France had already left, that place on the anchor. and Bob Hayes ran them down at a time of 8.7. That was his split time. That's how fast he ran and ran them down and won the race.
Mm.
And I remember hearing one of his teammates who was on the relay team with him speak about how the French team were very upset, very upset, monsieur. We're very upset, monsieur. We were winning the race. We were winning. All you had was Bob Hayes. All you had was Bob Hayes. And his teammate said, and that's all we needed. Because he
Yes.
said Bob told him, keep it close. Just keep it close. Well, I don't know if close was 3 to 5 meters, but that was as close as they were. And he ran them down and won the gold medal. So 1964, I was there watching that. And, when Bob got back, he gave my dad a pair of the practice spikes he ran in. And those were always a treasured memory for my dad, being that my dad coached him in football in high school. So anyway, that's the Bob Hayes story. Now, moving on to the prizes. Now, before they started using or putting out medals, the prize was an olive wreath for the winners back in the ancient Olympic Games back in Greece. An olive wreath, that was it. But they crowned you with that, and you, I guess, walk around with it, and everybody knew that you were the winner. And it was an olive branch that was entwined to form a horseshoe, as they state here. And they said, according to the story, the olive wreath was introduced by who? Hercules. As a prize for the winner of the running race to honor Zeus. Olympic Greek mythology. Hercules and Zeus. But we move to the part where we talk about these medals. And Ronline, the medals are so important because they symbolize your placing in the shows, in the Olympics. And what happens is when they run the competitions, have the competitions, and they present the medals, because each medal is designed differently every year they have the Olympics by the host country. So this year, the medals look a little different. And they will always look different because each country is allowed to create their own medals. And that's what France has done by creating this unique blend of medals that they have that make up these wonderful awards. And of course, they are made from the metals. They're made with gold, they're made with silver, they're made with bronze. And they also talk about the fact that in addition to the medals, every athlete who places receives a diploma, an Olympic diploma. An Olympic diploma indicating that, hey, not only did I represent my country, because see, in order to get that diploma, you have to be in that final group of 8. So that's that part of it. So you get these medals, and they are round in shape. 60 meters, 60 millimeters in diameters, 3 millimeters of thickness, and the materials first place is gold, composed of at least 92% gold, 6 grams of gold. Then there's silver, and they said the metal value at the time they did the last Olympics in Japan. That gold medal was worth about $800. Well, of course, it's probably worth $1,000+ now. Second place is valued at probably about $600, and then the bronze medal, 97% copper with tin and zinc in it. Uh, the value of it is very. I mean, it's a big difference. You go from hundreds to, like maybe it's worth $10 in value monetarily, but the value of it as you being a winner to win that bronze medal is intrinsically more valuable than the monetary value. And that's what we have. Gold, silver, and bronze are the three medals. So as we get ready for our break, this is the Kitchings Table. Today we're talking about Olympic nuggets and international games. We are talking about the 33rd Olympiad from Paris, France, 2024 Paris Olympics. And joining me, as always, my co-host, Ronline Cannady. Ronline, um, if you were an Olympian, would you just be happy about making the team, or would you be happier winning that medal?
Bringing home the medals. It's like, what do you do all of that for, right? Bringing home the medals.
To compete. I represented my country. I did something that all those other countrymen could not do. They did not get a spot on the team. I will forever be an Olympian, forever. Now, getting that diploma, that's the next thing. So if you can't win the medal, at least you have that diploma that you can put on your wall. It's like, okay, well, that states that you were one of the top 8 in the world. That's basically what it says. I was one of the best 8 in the world, because when they go through all the qualifications and the qualifying, you eliminate a lot of people. That's, when we talk about teams and countries that participate, 203 Olympic committees, 329 events, 10,000 athletes descending on Paris, 10,000 athletes, and you're one of the top 8 in your particular sport, man. But then, like you said, I came all the way over here so that I could win that medal.
Yes.
So
And bringing home the gold is the ultimate.
the ultimate prize.
Yes, the ultimate prize to bring home the gold, to represent your country, and to know that not only did you do your best, everyone knows that you've done your best.
Well, that is true. And that's what you want to do. You want to do your best.
And while we're on that subject of best, when you talked about there are 4 types of Olympics, and I I guess in my mind, I don't know how I looked at the Paralympics, but I'm glad you brought that, just brought that out, because ah, to watch the Paralympics, it's like no matter, it just brings back that saying, like the bird, he was freezing or whatever, but not once did he feel sorry for himself. Even when he fell to his death, he did not feel sorry for himself. And when I look at them and their competitions and all of the things that you see them, that having to train their mind, the training that goes into that, and for them to bring home the prize. the bronze, the gold, the silver, um, and
So,
representing their country.
so I've got
That
a slide. I've got the slide there. Can you pull that up? The Olympic symbols. Are you there? We go. So, uh, in that middle picture, you can see the prizes. Silver on the left, gold in the middle, bronze on the right. And that unique design, is unique to France. That's their design on the medal. And, that's what they've done. Uh, and then the picture above that are the Olympic rings. We see that all the time. And those colors are to represent colors of countries throughout the world. That's why you see those colors in that interlocking ring. And then, of course, the logo for this year's Olympics, Paris 2024, with, of course, as the United States would do, they will probably use if the whole city was New York, they'd probably use the Statue of Liberty. For France, it's the Eiffel Tower. And then we talk about the entrance to the games. But, Ronline, before they even get to the parade, there is a relay where the torch, a flame, a torch, is taken from Greece and brought to the host city. Now, you may say, well, how do they carry that flame? So, for instance, when it was in Japan, they take that flame and they put it in some kind of special uh, box or whatever, so they can take the flame and get it to Japan. And then once they get it to Japan, they light the first torch, so it continues. So the torch itself is a very emblematic piece of hardware, if you will. And this year's torch that France uh, came up with, and I don't know if you can blow that picture up any larger than that so people can see it, but it's got a unique shape to it. It's tapered on each end and large in the middle. Now, I'm not going to tell you what some broadcasters have called that. They gave it a unique name because of its shape. And I'll just say that there have been those who have called it a blunt. I would just put it that way.
oh wow. Okay.
Without going any further, I'll just say that's what I've heard one or two of them call it. It just was funny. I had to laugh about that. But that torch is taking a distance and it's passed from one individual to the next on this race, on this relay. And athletes, leaders, celebrities, ordinary people alike, depending, no matter what the conditions, they take this torch with this flame and move it, because until that torch gets to the opening ceremony at the place where it's delivered for them to light the cauldron to officially open the Olympics, it is a big deal. And, one of the stars that is at the 2024 Olympics, and, this just goes to show you, the nature of a person and their capacity to build their own name. But Snoop Dogg is at the Olympics, and Snoop Dogg carried the torch for his segment of the relay. And he's at the events. He's meeting the athletes. He's he's all over the place. And when I thought about the fact that, well, here's a guy who started out as a rapper, started out in that type of industry, and now he's on the major stage and people are embracing him. And I was telling my wife the other day, I said, isn't it interesting that, just think about his name. Just think about the name. I want you, not the first name, I want you to think about his entire stage name. Snoop Dogg,
Mm-hmm.
okay, is one of the premier celebrities at the Olympics. I mean, he didn't just have a cameo appearance. every place he's at, every place he shows up, cameras are on him to see what he's going to say or do or both. And he started out as a rapper, and now he is a multi-mogul celebrity. And his name is Snoop Dogg. Now, Ronline, where does the name Snoop come from?
When I think of Snoop, I think of Snoopy,
There we go.
the
There we
character
go. Charlie Brown
from
and his
Charlie
dog's
Brown
name was
and
Snoopy.
the Friends. Yes.
Okay, his dog's name was Snoopy. Drop the Y, add a P,
Mm-hmm.
and call him Snoop Dogg.
Yes.
Okay, so Snoopy, Charlie Brown's dog, Snoopy was the dog. We're going to drop the Y, add a P, drop the THE, and just make it, and add a G and make it Snoop Dogg. How about that?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm happy because it's just electrifying to see that he's transcended so many things. So he carried the torch, and that was pretty exciting. And he's at all these events, and the parents of these athletes embrace him, high-fiving him, hugging him, and wanting, be in touch with him. I mean, his celebrity notoriety is just huge. But Ronline, did you know there's an Olympic motto?
Okay.
See, there's all kinds of facets to the Olympics.
Right.
Here
It
at the
is. It
Kitchings
is.
Table, we're just not talking about the Olympics and winning gold medals and things like that, because we haven't even talked about the events or the venues or things. We've not even touched on that, and I hope I get that in. But the original Olympic motto, and it's a Latin, so don't ask me to pronounce that. But the meaning of it is faster, higher, stronger.
Stronger. Yes. Yes.
Faster, higher,
and
stronger.
stronger. Yes.
Okay? And it was introduced at the 1924 Olympic Games in what city? Paris. 100 years ago. Paris. So this is more than just winning a medal. Like I said, the participation, the representation, the camaraderie, the friends you meet. Because when you leave, your competitor becomes your friend. In the Olympics, where Jesse Owens competed when it was held in Berlin, Germany, Jesse Owens would not have won the long jump had it not been for the German who he was competing with telling him one little simple thing: start your run a foot or two back of where you've been starting so that you can hit that board without fouling. Jesse Owens did that and won the event at the displeasure of the man running Germany at that time, Mr. Hitler. But he wasn't happy with the German doing that. But that was what sportsmanship was about. I'm competing against you. I want you to be at your very best. So I don't want you to say, well, if I didn't have my sprained ankle, I would have won. No, I don't want you to have no excuses. None. No. If it means telling you to move back a foot or two in order for you to give me your best so I can be my best, that's what he did. So faster, higher, stronger. Now, like I said, there are many venues from archery all the way to wrestling, and we see many of them. And because there are so many of them, some have been eliminated. Some have been carried on. Once upon a time, they used to have cricket, croquet, lacrosse, tug of war, water motorsports. Check that out, water motorsports. Yeah, figure that one out. Yeah, you're doing okay. And from 1896, when they had the first Olympics of the modern era in Athens, Greece, and it had 7 venues, to what we have now in Paris, where we have 40 plus venues. In Tokyo, they had 41. Rio de Janeiro, they had 36. Those were the last two places for the Olympic Games. There are a lot of venues and a lot of competition going on. And just that in itself. And then the process of selecting what city will be the next city to host. And as I shared with you earlier, the cost for this Olympics is coming in just under $10 billion. And I guarantee you that uh, in my researching, I saw that the I guess the revenue that was made after expenses, that's the way you look at it. So if it costs me 10 billion and I make 11 billion, then I made a net profit of 1 billion. So I think the largest amount I saw was $600 million that may have been garnered in revenue. I guarantee you they will reach billions because this is a very, very, very impactful Olympics. And you name it, they're selling it as a souvenir item. From the little flags that people wave to scarves to hats. I couldn't even fathom what all kinds of things people have made in order to sell. And we won't even talk, we talk about 10,000 athletes. How many fans are in Paris, right now, watching these games? And if there are a million fans there and each one of them spent $100, okay, you do the math. But it's more than that. It's more than that. So these games, as I stated in my opening, have tremendous impact, not only in competition, but capitalism. And even though these games are hosted by communist countries, the world lets down its guards, relaxes its political disagreements, so people from around the world can come to your country and witness these games for 2 weeks. And when the games were held in China, let's see, that would have been when? Beijing in 2008, Beijing, China. And we know China, is a communist country. However, for 2 weeks, it's almost like China becomes a capitalist country because they want to make every dime they can off these Olympic Games. I mean, and like I said, the political aspects are relaxed. So it's a it's a tug, it's a pull and push, it's a pull and push. Okay, we talking politics and we're not talking politics. We're talking about, well, we don't like you. Well, we like you now because we're at the Olympics. I mean, so it's so much. But thankfully, we have this type of event where these type of things can happen. And I'm just grateful that we can have this conversation to talk about what all is going on in the world as we know it, because you got wars on in countries battling, but yet the Olympics makes us forget about the disagreements between countries, the hatred between countries, the dislike between countries, the warring between countries. The war turns in, and the war turns into competition. The hatred turns into love. The disagreement turns into camaraderie and competitive sportsmanship. Can we have the Olympics 365?
It would be nice. It would be nice if it's going to bring about peace. It's like, how do you arrive at peace for 2 weeks? And then just be mad all over again.
All
Like,
over
who
again.
does that, right?
All over again. And really it's peaceful for a month, because when you add in the Paralympics, you got to be peaceful for for those 2 weeks also. So it's really about a month, uh,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 6 weeks at the most. So going back to the song that the group the Beatles made famous, all we're saying is give peace a chance.
Yes.
Give peace a chance. Let there be Olympic celebrations 365 from now on, so that peace can be what we see in these 2 to 4 weeks. Are we that small minded and greed and jealousy? Because greed and jealousy doesn't have a place in the Olympics, but as soon as it's over, we go back to greed and jealousy, envy, hatred, and it's like, what's the point? I mean, it's almost like what's the point? You can, and that's something else I've thought about. We can be at odds with China, but man, the commerce between the United States and China is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
The things we get made in China, it's like, yeah, but I thought y'all didn't like those guys. Well, why are you spending your money with them? If you don't like them, why are you spending your money over there? I mean, why are you giving them all this business? They don't like you. They're spying on you, but you give them all this commerce. Well, I mean, it's it's hypocrisy. It's hypocrisy at a whole nother level. I don't like you, but yeah, I'll print your book. I don't like you, I'll make your car. I don't like you, I'll make your computer. I don't like you, I'll make your TVs. But I don't like you, but you can
Mm-hmm.
spend your money with me, but I don't like you. Why would I want, and as we think about it in real time, would you spend your money with somebody you don't like? I don't think, Ronnie, would you do that?
Hey, well, I guess we've been doing it for a long time. So it's second nature now.
Oh, okay. Well, I make TVs, but you don't like me. But I got this great TV that you want to put in your house. So you'll buy my TV, but you won't like me. I don't like you, but I'll buy your TV.
Yes.
Unbelievable. Oh, okay. I'm just doing what the Kitchings tables do, Ronline. I'm just bringing things to the forefront.
Yes.
I'm
You
not
know,
I'm not trying to bring any craziness, but hey, that's the world we live in.
that is the world we live in.
Okay.
Yes.
I, I,
And it's worthy of talking about because that's why we're here at the kitchen's table to bring things to you so that you can think about it and have a conversation like, why are we doing what we do?
Exactly. Hey, Ron Lee, how about this? I don't like you, but could you send me some food?
Yes, I'm still hungry at the end of the day.
Okay. So we'll have some trade. You send me some food. I'll send you some TVs. How about we do that? But I don't like you.
Okay.
I don't like you, but I need the food and you want my TV. Okay, so we can agree to disagree, but I still don't like you.
Mm,
Let's do better and make the whole world prosperous and flourish.
yes.
It's enough resources for it to be done everywhere. I mean, countries don't have to be without fresh water if you don't really want it to be that way. But because you're greedy and you got to have the power, and you need some food, I'll send you some. We got silos of rice and corn stacked up, and I need that TV, Ron Lean. So I'll send you some corn so you can make some food if you send me that TV that you're over there making.
Yes.
We
So
got a
on a
deal?
lighter note,
Yes. Okay, go
we're
ahead.
gonna we're gonna bring Simone Biles Owens now. She's
All right.
married to football player Jonathan Owens. So to be able to compete with that, uh, she's at the Olympics today. So watch her. She also has many medals, many accolades, and even Joe Biden awarded her the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2022. And check her out on Netflix. Um, the Simone Biles Rising documentary on Netflix. You need to follow her journey. She did a lot for our country, bringing home a lot of medals. And thank you so much for listening to the Kitchings Table. I turn it back to you, Earl Kitchings.
Ronline, you didn't say what she really is. You gotta
Oh,
say
shit,
what
the gymnast. Yes, yes, I did
no,
flash
no,
her
not
with
just no, you got to
this,
give her real title. Now she's a gymnast, but you didn't give her the real title.
the American gymnast.
No,
Okay.
no. You got to see when you reach this level, you get a whole nother title.
Okay, well, talk about the title real quick because it's
The
time for us to
title is the GOAT, the GOAT,
go to the greatest of all
the
time.
greatest of all times.
Mhm.
And that started with the greatest
And I
of all
did have
time.
a picture for her, but I don't see it right now. But I did have a
Well,
picture.
let me see if you can bring that up now. Let's see. Well, I'm gonna work on that, but yeah,
Well, it's time for us
there it
to
is.
end, but yes, let me bring her here.
There she is.
Yes. Hmm.
Okay, greatest of all times. So
Yes.
we're gonna call it a wrap, and we're gonna say bonjour again and goodbye from our talking about the Olympics until our show next week, Tuesday mornings. Please join us for Ronline Cannady. I'm your host of Your Kitchen saying go out and do something good for somebody else today. Take care, everybody.